Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 646. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Very fine, Zod.
Ahoy!
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hey.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers. We're live streaming on Twitch Tuesday nights. Join us starting at 8 o'clock. We have the movie cast, the game cast. We got bonus rounds, same nights usually. We will have a spoiler cast coming up for you guys next week on Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably should have mentioned that in the movie cast, but hopefully check out both episodes. So check that out soon. If you do miss us live, YouTube the following day. Subscribe to both channels. You'll get notified when we have the latest and greatest of all of our episodes. You'll get immediately notified when we post. So that's always the best way to do it. And leave us a comment to hear from us. So, okay. This is the Gamecast, folks. What have you been up to? I have been dead sick. So, and then I've been building a fence in my backyard. So it's been busy. So I have installed games. I have played nothing. Oh, and is that not true? Not true. I did play more Hogwarts. I did not play Jedi Survivor. So
Okay.
But you bought
Jedi
it.
Survivor. I got it. Again.
Picked it up.
Talked about Spirited Away last episode. I have it. I want to play it. I haven't played it yet.
And Zelda's coming on Friday, so I don't know why you did it, man.
you know what?
I don't know why you did it.
I know. It's not gonna make it now. Now I'm not gonna make it. So
You better return it
Hogwarts.
if you didn't open it. Did you open it?
Nope.
Oh, I installed it. This is what happened. I installed it, and then because my hard drive was full, it didn't auto-install. So I didn't know that. And when I went to sign in to play the game, like I actually turn, because usually when I'm gonna install something, I'll pop the disc in and I'll just walk away and let it run for a few hours and then come back and check on it. Well, the next morning I booted it up to check it out, and I'm like, oh, it didn't actually install. To actually delete stuff off my hard drive because it's 155 gigs that I don't have with a 1 terabyte hard drive. Yeah, so I had to remove games, and then it prompted me for the update. So then I had to remove more games, and then finally installed. And by that point, I was already moving on to something else. So that's what happened. And that's why I played more Hogwarts. And then, of course, I built a fence in my yard. So I didn't get to play it yet. I heard it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. There's some glitches, obviously. I expect it. But nothing like Redfall. That's a bad game. I didn't get to say that last week, folks. I missed the podcast because I was sick. I have to say, just to chime in on your, what a terrible game. And I have watched so much on this. It's amazing that I've watched so much on such a bad game. I talk about what we've been up to, from the movie cast. I watched a lot of Redfall crap videos of, just gameplays where you're just like...
Did you see the ones I posted? That was my gameplay.
Yeah, I saw your gameplay. I watched your gameplay. I watched when Mike shared that whole review. Mike, you shared that one, right?
Yeah, it's a skill up review. Yep.
I believe my jaw was down during all of this. Every time where I'm like, this cannot be a game that was released in 2023. This cannot be. It's totally fine for a PS3 game or an Xbox One game. You know what I mean? That's fine.
I mean, not even. Games were still good back then. This is even ill-conceived in just what it's trying to do.
The core of the game is broken. It's not the glitches. It's the core of the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can't fix that. You can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get into that later, though. We'll talk about Microsoft in a bit. But yeah, so that's it for me. Mike, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Jedi Survivor a lot.
Nice.
It's really good actually. It's doing everything that you kind of want from a sequel. The technical issues are you don't want to walk in an open area near water because that will slow things down noticeably. And other than that, there is a consistent shimmer if you pan the camera around.
This is PS5, Mike.
Yes, which is supposedly the best way to play the game at the moment still. But the opening section I really enjoyed. A little bit of Coruscant there. One of my better.
And I have heard you start off where your character left off with powers and everything, right? That's true.
Yes. You don't. So unlike I mentioned replaying Fallen Order recently, and when you replay that game, it's a little rough because you just suck so much in the beginning. But you don't suck in the beginning of this game. You feel pretty good, but there's still lots of room to expand, and this definitely leans in more to some open world aspects. There's a lot more side content here, and this game has also done uh, the impossible for me, which is I don't hate the platforming. I don't always love it, but it's way more varied and engaging than you typically get in these sort of action games where they throw in like some nonsense climbing, like Horizon. I don't really like the climbing in that or the traversal stuff, but
Do they have the
in this,
yellow highlighter, yellow paint?
Oh,
yeah,
yellow,
they don't.
white, green, whatever. Something
They
to
don't. They
change
don't
it up.
really have that. Although, actually, I sometimes you are a little confused about what you can grab in this game and what you can't.
Okay.
And then there definitely is one way to go still for most of these things, but it's just more fun because you're swinging or like double jumping, or you'll get other abilities to move a little better in the air later on. So yeah, it's just more engaging. You're doing more than just climbing up a yellow path. So
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
they give you the double jump pretty early on, which usually helps.
Hmm.
yeah. No, I think you still have the double jump that you had from the last game at the very beginning. Pretty much, if you had an ability at the end of Fallen Order, you have it at the beginning. What just happened?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay,
We were listening to you talk.
so I just heard you know, a
Something left and
Discord
came
sound.
back. Kind of sad.
Um, but no, I would recommend it. If you want to wait, I don't know how much, especially on console, they're gonna do anytime soon to fix the issues I mentioned with the water slowdown and the shimmering. But because I don't see that listed for the next patch. But the game itself, the content is it's exceeding my expectations so far a little bit.
Nice.
So I'm really enjoying it.
I saw somebody break it on Twitter where they
Over.
jumped off a ledge and double jumped, and then apparently Cal has this like I don't know Sonic the Hedgehog move where he like locks onto an opponent and then like dashes forward towards them, like the Sonic spin thing or whatever like that. So he totally breaks the sequence because he like locks onto like this stormtrooper, just like kind of like teleports over to him or dash, whatever the hell you want to call it. And the game literally goes, you just like skipped the story beat or like whatever like that, and like if you continue, you may encounter like bugs or whatever. It's like just restart the game if you do and stuff like that. It's like, all right. So
It
yeah.
does. I will say the paths you're supposed to go on are pretty linear when you have to with the traversal stuff, and the game does get a little weird when you fall. Even you, if you like rub against a wall while you're falling, about to like reset and die, you do some weird animations that aren't supposed to happen. It's kind of funny, but I don't really care about that. But the only other thing I would say, and I don't even really know how far I am in the game because I am being distracted by side content a bit this time, is the story itself feels a little less urgent than the first game. But that might change in the latter half, so we'll see.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Cool. Sounds good. Tony?
Yeah, I played that piece of shit Redfall for an hour and a half.
As we mentioned earlier, yeah.
Check the Discord, right? You had it posted on
Yeah,
Discord.
some clips there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, God, I'm trying to think of the best way I can sum this up. I'm having this is an inferior game to Dying Light, which
Oh yes,
I love that
Dying Light is
game.
great.
Dying Light was great, and that launched on the PS4 in 2013. I want to say maybe 2014.
Around there, 2014 maybe.
Yeah,
Around there.
I know it was one of the first titles that
this out.
actually I felt pushed the system. Because I think it was a current gen exclusive or whatever like that. But to see a game like this in 2023, it does not feel like a 2023 game. Like if you and honestly,
by the way,
2015. Okay, a little later.
Yeah, that's when Arkham Knight came out, and we felt the
January
same thing.
though. January.
Okay, January. But if you had showed me side by side footage of Dying Light and this game, I'd be like, oh wow, Dying Light is a way better PS4 game than an Xbox One game. and it's not. It's a whole generation ass fucking ahead, and I don't know why. I honestly, I don't know why, and I really hate to disparage developers that probably work their asses off on this game, but this is terrible. Like, this is absolutely awful. Like, it's awful to look at. It's awful to play. The story is awful. The writing is terrible. Like, so first of all, the way they do the story is like these like a hand or not hand draw, but like it's like a still image of like characters that are supposed to be doing something, and like it's somebody like narrating, you know, from their perspective. But it's just so generic, and just like, what's the point? Like, I don't even understand what's going on. Like, a town got taken over.
It was a dart throw story.
By vampire.
It was a dart throw story. Yeah, so they threw darts at the board and said, okay, it's vampires. Go to town, and they threw another. You know, that's how they built their story.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
and like, man, they throw you into this, and oh my god, even within like the first 5 minutes of the game, and I hate it because somebody on Twitter pointed it out. So as soon as they pointed it out, I looked for it and I found it.
Oh,
there is a dead ass NPC in the exact same position, wearing the exact same colored clothes and everything like that, literally 10 feet away from that same NPC. Like, look, I get it. It's just dressing, it's just decoration, but like, how? Like, they're in the same room. The same fucking room. It's not even like you have to walk into a different room and just like, you know, it's facing a different position, or, you know, he's rolled over or something like that. It's literally the same position, just 10 feet away. And I'm just like, come the fuck on. Like, this is so lazy.
How do you know, though, that wasn't his identical twin? How
They were
do you know?
wearing the same thing.
They died in the exact. It's like the one twin is like looking over. It's like, oh wait, he died like this. I gotta die like this too. It's like, what? Like,
Identical.
no.
It's like getting the same song 2 times in a row on shuffle.
Yeah, what's crazy
Yeah.
is like this is the same studio that did Dishonored, which got pretty good reviews and was fairly liked and remembered, and Deathloop, which was really critically acclaimed.
Which was
like crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just like the B team or the interns. I don't know what it is. And Chur pointed out it's different bloodstains. Sure, okay, I guess they couldn't control, you know, at least. But that makes it worse. That meant somebody saw like the models and were like, okay, bloodstain for you, and like walk over 10 feet in the you know, character map, and been like, different bloodstain over here, but like not brought up like, hey, maybe we should use a different NPC to, you know, be laying here in the pool of blood, stuff like that. Anyway, the shooting's awful. Like, it is it's so bad. Like Destiny 1 felt better to shoot, like gunplay, shoot, and stuff like that.
I will say,
Destiny.
I thought Destiny 1's
Arcane
gunplay was great.
No, I'm not.
It's similar to other Arcane games. It's not; those aren't shooters per se. I would say, even though they're gun focused, I would say, and there's guns in them, but I wouldn't call them shooters really.
Yeah, and I didn't bring up Destiny 1 to disparage Bungie, because obviously I think they do a great job. But I'm just saying, when you have a blueprints for a game that, again, was like, what, 2015 or 2014, whenever Destiny came out, it's like 8 years later, you can't try to like do better.
Well, I think you're mistaking the gameplay part of it. Like, it's like for 15 minutes, the game will be great. Like Destiny, it was like all the other stuff around it, I think, was bad. Like the gunplay was fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. The gunplay. Look, I love the multiplayer because it for a while until you had to get the better weapons to compete and stuff like that.
It sounds like with Redfall, everything.
There's not one good thing I can honestly say. Like, I experienced so many bugs and glitches in just like an hour and a half. Like, I killed 2 guys and they were doing like the ragdoll, like creepy ass, like just jittering but also moving,
like
and
they
like
made this game to like so people could do what we're doing. It's like, oh, no news is bad news, and let's get people to talk about how shit our game is.
Yeah, and like
this is so crazy. What are we doing here?
And there was a vampire that just got stuck in a counter, and like I could kill him, but I couldn't fit. Like, so the thing
Where's
is,
the quality control? Like who is testing these games? Like,
I
this
don't
is going out the door.
I don't know, but like the thing is, like, we can talk about like how bad it is to delay a game, but I think this hurts the brand, the Xbox brand, more than if they had just delayed or even canceled it.
Killed it, yeah.
Like, I guess you could have fun if you had like 4 players, but like, you know, if the 4 of us were to play it and stuff like that, we'd have fun. Don't get me wrong, because it'd be funny and we'd be laughing, but like, it's not
the
fun.
People are playing with,
right, right. You know, just like, I mean, we could probably watch paint dry and make it funny, you know. we wouldn't be having fun. But yeah,
This might be outlandish and crazy, but how many executives maybe at Microsoft who are going through a purchase right now they really want badly approved and painting themselves in a they're behind the game standing to get that purchase approved? How many said like this game is perfect for this argument?
I mean, maybe, but it's just sad.
And then following that up,
They did delay this game already, though.
But then following it up, we're getting into the Phil conversation after this, which again paints them into a weak picture.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a lot. So
yeah, we're gonna get into that, but yeah, so that it just sucks to see a game like this come out in this day and age that at the core is a game that should have been canceled.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I mean the thing is the premise, the concept. I could see the merit of it. It's like an open world-ish, co-op, class based, like Borderlands-ish, system, but instead of like zombies, it's fucking vampires. Like Left 4 Dead. Yeah, I get it, but like every aspect you could possibly want from a game, it has failed upon. Graphics, gameplay, gunplay, audio, story. Like I can't find one thing to be like, yeah, I'm not even paying for this. I have Game Pass. Like I cannot find a reason to continue playing this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a palate cleanser at least?
It's gonna be Zelda this week, so there you go.
You gotta wait till Friday.
Yeah, I gotta wait till Friday.
Bad taste to have for a week.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. All right, Corey.
More Xenoblade. Been sailing around. Picked up a couple of friends. Got a console friend and Fiona or something. Fifi something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, doing that, and then I was just kind of like having a lot of fun in this little sailing area. So I was just kind of just messing around there for a while before moving on to the next. I was like, oh, I'm finding all these people. I gotta find them all. Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them.
So I was kind of been delayed on pushing the main story forward, but just got back on track with that. So moving it along there. Yeah. So.
Okay. Cool. All right, let's get in some news. What do we got? We mentioned. Let's just go with the Microsoft right away here. We mentioned Microsoft. Phil Spencer was on a podcast last week, trying to and give him credit to take on questions about. Obviously, he knew he was going to get questions about Redfall. But what we didn't expect when I started watching this podcast, I was like ready for him to defend it and come up with some excuses, absolutely, but not for the approach that he took from it. I guess there's a lot of interesting notes from this. Again, I mentioned it in my previous. We were talking about Redfall just a little bit ago, with Microsoft trying to paint themselves in a weaker stance picture, and he really did that. Like he really seems like. I mean, he had stated. I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not exact quote. That no matter what Microsoft did because of last generation, they're not getting people to buy their console for better games. Essentially, right? Is that what we're saying? They could release better games. That's not going to make them sell more consoles.
I mean, so I don't know if we want to start with that, but
the way he said that.
But
that's the thing that got to me like the worst was like, no matter what they did last gen, because of the digital libraries from Nintendo and Sony that were built, and how the great games that they released.
Yeah, well, I mean, whose fault is that?
Exactly.
I think, but
that was my big problem.
He's not going to take their share or anything. I don't know if it. Well, whatever. You can extrapolate what you want from that, but
he's making arguments against himself, but because he put himself in that position, that's like kind of silly.
I mean, so the thing is, there's two parts to it. The first part was, people were asking about Redfall because this was the day of, I think, Redfall's official release. And right away, people were, obviously, the reviews were coming out, which painted it in like the low 60s, I think, or whatever it was. And then people were uploading clips and stuff to.
That's high.
Oh, absolutely, it's high. But it's always propped up by D-, the exclusives, exclusive content Xbox sites. But he's saying like all this, like, oh, we could have supported them better, this, that, and the other thing, and it just totally painted him as incompetent in the terms that like. Apparently, from what I paraphrased from I watched the whole thing, but there's a lot of content. But apparently, the whole 60 frame per second, they were like, oh, we shouldn't have marketed that way because they knew they weren't going to have that, for launch. And by the time they, as in Phil, I guess leadership at Xbox figured it out and called in the other studios to help them, fix that, it was already too late. Like they had done it, like I think late fall or something like that. And I'm just like thinking, like, dude, I don't know who this does favors to you, because now you're just admitting that you are incompetent at this portion of your job where, like, I get you don't want to be like over controlling with a new studio that you just bought, but
that,
being too hands off is also a problem like that. Like,
I
don't
just bought this company.
Right,
Like, it's now representing you.
Yes.
Why did you buy them if you're not going to just make sure that they're making the games that are up to your quality standards?
There's so much pressure on Microsoft for this year to release quality games after waiting so long with nothing. How is this your presentation? Like, how does this get through? Like, this is how we're going to lead off. We're going to lead off with our best foot forward, right? I mean, this is what I'm seeing.
Right, so that was part one. And then part two of the Redfall aspect was he admitted that their internal tests, because all these studios, they have internal testing to do internal reviews, to be like, oh, this is what we think we're going to get review scores around, like the predictions.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we were way off the mark and we did not anticipate that. I'm like, did you personally play this game, Phil? Like it is very apparent. Like I said, within the first hour, this game is not good. Like, and I would think if I was the CEO of fucking Xbox, I would play every goddamn first party game, at least for a little bit.
But
He's gonna demonstrated the game. There's no way he didn't see the game.
it's funny because, but what he also said in the same thing was that it wasn't even necessarily the technical things. He says they fundamentally failed to execute on their vision with the game. So that means he does
Not
think
technical.
he does think the game fundamentally kind of sucks. So what happened?
And they still let it out the door.
That's the reality. Of the
This is
situation.
coming
It
from
does-
a company that cancels things left, right, and it's like, well, no, we're gonna let this thing get out there. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is he's not 100% telling the truth, and he just doesn't want to admit, yeah, we should have canceled this, but I didn't want to because it was one of the first games for them as an Xbox exclusive studio, Microsoft first party. That's the only thing I could surmise, is that he's not being honest in that.
You could say, let's try to turn back the clock before this game came out and say that Microsoft stepped in, bought them, and then canceled this game.
Yeah, it would have been a bad look. It would have been a bad look, absolutely.
So I do, because they've done it already, and so I get that a little bit here. I do get that.
Yeah, but you can also delay it and say, like,
They
this game does not.
They already did.
This was delayed,
They can say, like, this game does not meet the quality standards that we hope to achieve.
And that's the only thing I could realistically think that, like, believe that Phil is not a stupid person, because if he was stupid, he wouldn't be in the job he's in right now. But, like, the fact that, like, delaying it is only going to make it worse. Like, only better games are going to come out on PlayStation and, Nintendo and potentially a Switch 2 or anything like that. The more they delay it. Like, where are you going to delay this to? You're going to delay this to fall next to Spider-Man 2?
You just delay it to whatever, like, with Metroid Prime 4. Just delay it till, like, you actually have a game. Like, just redo the entire game.
I think they probably didn't want to make it come out too close to where they expect to release Starfield, which they probably think is still going to be a winner. So they're like, fuck it. It needs to stay at least like 6 months away from that, and it sucks.
All right, well,
just
put
get
it out a week before Zelda. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I really think they're just
Gamecast.
We need to cut our losses here, and we will fix it in updates, and hopefully commit like No Man's Sky did, or Final Fantasy 14
Does
did.
it have No Man's Sky type potential? And the thing is, No Man's Sky was like kind of an open world, like exploration type of game where you could just keep growing it. Here, I don't think.
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
The core of No Man's Sky was a good game, and they proved that by supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
This is fundamentally flawed, and you would need to redo the game
Yeah,
from the ground
like
up.
from the ground
That's
up.
why they didn't delay it. You're talking like a 2.5-year delay if they delayed it, not
Right.
just like
I mean,
a 6-month delay.
That had to happen. Didn't happen though.
Yeah. So that was the Redfall part of the interview. But the part, Jim, you're referring to that I was surprised at was he did flat out admit, he's like, again, paraphrasing, he said that, because we lost the last generation so bad, and the digital library, when people started investing in their digital library of video games, that was the worst generation to lose. And even if we were to develop and release great games, it would not change the way things are. And he's like, I have no illusions that releasing Starfield, people are going to be selling their PS5s to buy Xboxes. And I get that aspect, but like hearing you say that, like just makes me think that he doesn't have the right vision here. Because like, first of all, PlayStation stumbled, like, and Xbox caused them to stumble after the the PS2 was the most successful system ever when it released.
Yeah.
And they went to the PS3, which totally fumbled out the gate. The whole, $599 US, people will forego their rent to fucking buy a PlayStation 3. The whole, like, did they even have an exclusive game, whatever.
Difficult to develop on also.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And 360 just came out and did amazing that entire generation. It even had, like, the end-of-life Connect thing with the resurgence of casual and stuff like that. So don't tell me that just because you end weak, doesn't... Because then Sony, during the PS3 generation, was like, hey, look, we're going to take our lumps on this, but we're going to release great games. And they did. They released Uncharted 2, whatever, Last of Us. That was the creme,
They built
the swan song. They built their franchises, right? So don't tell me you can't do that when they did, and Nintendo did too. The Wii U was one of the most disastrous video game systems of all time. Not even selling, 15 million units lifetime?
Yeah.
And they didn't stop them. They said, look, we're going to continue to make our great games because we have to. There's no other option. But hopefully we can prove that these video games are still worth the money that you spend.
Too. You have to
and you pivot
a little
right.
bit. Like, so with Xbox, they're just like, well, we're just going to do the same thing before, but not not change anything. We're not changing anything. Like, PlayStation to PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 was a huge change fundamentally, like hardware wise, the approach they're taking. Let's make it easier on the developers. Let's make it easier on consumers. Like, they needed to change. When Xbox One came out, they didn't really change much from Xbox Series X. Like, they knew they were losing, but they didn't make any changes to improve their position. They doubled down on like not releasing things.
Well, to me,
they did double down on that. They didn't release anything. That's the problem.
Well, that's the thing. The games. You look at the PlayStation 4. You mentioned near the end, throughout for Uncharted, and then at the very end you had Last of Us. But so those were carrying over to PS4. Then you have on PS4 you have new IPs that are successful, like the rebooted God of War. You have Horizon. You have Spider-Man. Like all this stuff. It's like, oh, so now I want to be in the PlayStation ecosystem, and that's what they didn't do. That's how you would get it back one generation to the next, and nothing has happened.
And the other thing too is PlayStation stumbled also on the crossplay. Like, Xbox could have went super deep into that and just been like, hey, we're just gonna just let you play, we're gonna embrace this, but they didn't do much.
They didn't do that.
They didn't take advantage of that.
I think just to say it better, what Phil's trying to say here, which is just crazy in my opinion, because it might be the reality situation. So he could release Starfield and nobody's going to go sell their PS5 to get an Xbox.
And that's fine. It doesn't have to be that. You don't have to do that.
And that might be the reality situation. But as a businessman running the company, I don't think you should actually ever say something like that. But number two, aren't you supposed to still be trying to do that? Isn't that you're still got to give an effort, and you're also the capability of somebody who has a PS5 or a Switch to say, wow, that game is phenomenal. I should go buy an Xbox to play it.
Right.
That's what you should be trying to do.
And that's
sell their PS5.
The whole thing, when we hear people say oh, that's what they had to say, we knock people for saying that, but that because you have to say it. You don't go and be like, oh, I'm going to support my, in sports, oh, I got my team's doing shitty, but you got to say good things about it, because oh, I got it, we're trying hard and we're doing things. We're not going to talk bad about our teammates and our team because we're playing poor. Same thing in business here is oh yeah, we're failing, so why bother? It's that's basically what he's saying. Starfield is your biggest, most important release, pretty much of this generation. Even going back to Xbox One's, all this led up to this. You spent billions of dollars to get this game on your console exclusively. And then you're going to say to people, oh, we don't think it's going to do well enough that you're going to want to buy this over your PlayStation.
It's such a shame. And, honestly, it just makes me beg the question, why even fucking have an Xbox at this point, really?
Well, that's essentially what he painted it like. It's they don't really they don't seem to care to want that. And we've mentioned that before, and that might be the future. That may be where they're going. And third party might be the way. I
But
don't know.
that's what
They
it
don't
is.
have anything that it's not even like they're Sega where they have IPs that people want to see. It's not even like this.
That's the stance he's taking is when you have franchises that you can say, yeah, I'm going to sell this on the PlayStation and be great. What are they selling on PS5? They don't have that. They don't have a library to make it become third party.
And then what they do is they go
plan
buy
is.
and try to go buy it with Bethesda and Activision Blizzard.
I will say,
Their plan is Game Pass.
this and Redfall, it's really shaken my confidence in Starfield now, which is unfortunate because that was my most anticipated of the year. But I am worried about it now.
As you should be.
Sure.
Like, as you should be.
As it should be. And like the thing is too is like Starfield. It's to the point where even if Starfield comes out in the best case scenario, it gets like a 95 plus Metacritic, commercially and critically successful. Like I mean, this game was in development for so long that what if they were just hands off with it like they were with Redfall? Where like, hey, you guys have been working on Starfield. The only thing we're asking you is to like not hit that port to PS5 button. Like all you're doing, you do the same thing. It's just we're not releasing on PlayStation because that's it. I mean, it's not like Microsoft funded this game, right? Like they've been working on Starfield long since before Microsoft purchased ZeniMax or whatever the parent company is. So like even if Starfield comes out, like I don't feel like they deserve the credit for it being a good game. Like I just don't. I would consider it half a win.
I get
They
you.
might
I
have
get your
helped
point.
to get it over the finish line, but at the same time, like the pedigree is from what they've made before with
Right.
Fallout and Morrowind. What's
Elder Scrolls,
Elder
right?
Scrolls.
It's you're right. It's like Microsoft's like, oh, you guys need some help getting this Elder Scrolls, off the ground and stuff like that, right?
Ridiculous too is like they already had like Mass Effect. Like they could have kept that like going, but then they let
Yeah,
that go and
that's what I don't understand. Like Microsoft had all these opportunities, right? They lost Bungie, right? They just let them walk off instead of being like, hey, you guys want to work on something else? That is fine. Like. You want to go independent? We'll do a business relationship where we don't even buy you out. But we have you develop games for us for Xbox exclusivity, and you don't do that. And like what the fuck is going on at Rare? What is going on with Rare? They've owned for 20 years now, and they're just working on Sea of Thieves still, and whatever the fuck is going on with is Everwild them? I forget.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with them? We saw that before the Xbox Series even launched, right?
I feel like I don't know where they're going. Fable is probably not making this generation. I don't know. It's Phantomware, maybe. Yes.
Right, and like Jim, like I said,
I'm at the point.
Discord, yeah.
I'm at the point where we're talking about Discord, where I'm like, I'm a huge Xbox fan. I like the controller a lot. I do, and I like Game Pass as an idea is it's phenomenal. What a great, it's awesome. But I'm at the point where I'm like, why even have this system right now? Why have it? Like, so I do think I'm playing Starfield, and obviously that gives me more of a picture of what Microsoft's bringing us by the end of the year. At that point, I believe it comes out this year even.
That's it. That's one game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm giving them time to paint a picture for me because I'm giving them Starfield. I own the console already.
But they've already painted that picture for you. Like we're all coming up on the 3rd anniversary. What Xbox games have you played?
Oh, exactly. We talked about it. I haven't played a first party game.
Well, I know we talk about Discord. I'm just saying for the listeners.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tony asked me on Discord, what first party games have I played on the Xbox? And I'm like, I haven't played any. I haven't played any. I bought the Xbox. Like, I mean, there was the small games like Hi-Fi Rush.
Did you beat it?
No.
Okay. Pentiment.
Is it Pentiment?
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Did you beat that?
Oh.
No, he quit. You quit both of those games halfway
That game
through.
not even halfway on Pentiment. I played on like the beginning of that game, and
I warned you.
So is that the goal of Game Pass? Just try a game out and realize you don't like it? Is that it?
I mean, it's nice to have that.
As a
feature.
consumer, yes.
Is it? I mean, I'm not paying a service just to be like, oh yeah, this game sucks.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I'm not saying I
I mean-
didn't play any Forza. I played Forza, but it's not like a.
You would have bought Forza though.
Must
That's what
have.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. It's not like. It's also not the must-have system game for me. It's like I mean, I would have had it, but yeah. I mean, I didn't play Halo. I didn't play, which is their only game. I mean, that's it. So I don't know. I just I don't know.
Oh, when you get to play
I want a
Starfield,
PS5.
you can. Did you guys see the ESRB
B rating.
rating stuff?
Yeah.
They like the.
I did see that.
Yeah, I'm a little
Yeah.
upset. They're like it's completely sexless.
Yeah, no, I mean life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. So
Yep.
you get gems like that in Starfield. So
Anyway, I think we veered off, but I mean, the main point is I don't think that Phil interview was really good. I mean, props to him for doing it. Props to him for seemingly coming across very honest, but I mean,
It was really just him trying to fall on the sword for everyone else, but he might have, by a mistake, really indicted himself and the company in other ways he probably didn't anticipate.
Yeah, I mean that caused more conversation than I expected from his comments. I was expecting we screwed this up. We, like exactly what he said. Starfield, we've had much more hands-on. It's going to be better. Exactly what I expected. And then that was just like, really, Phil? Where are you going here? But anyways, all right.
but yeah, I mean, even after that, like, what's on the horizon then after that? Like,
not Horizon.
Yeah, not Horizon.
Forza. Not Horizon. And that's it. I don't know. We'll see. That's what I'm saying. Let's see what they got. But no, I'm not expecting much anymore. I'm still picking up a PS5 probably later this year anyway. So I'm due. I really want a PS5 now. There's enough games for me to really want that. So
Spider-Man 2's coming.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's one of the games. That's the game.
I'm getting worried that might get delayed now too, because we haven't heard shit about that lately. But
We
whatever.
already talked about it. We're not going to hear anything really until August, and then they're going to push that, marketing campaign heavy. So I'm not too worried about that, especially since like we were all saying that about God of War. It's like, oh, God of War's not coming, and then it came. It's like weird.
And was it Guerrilla Games is 20 years old? No.
Yeah, 20 years old.
Did you see that on the news too? 20 years old, celebrating 20 years for Guerrilla Games. That's a hell of a growth for a company, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, just to tie that in, I mean that is a studio that I remember back in the PS3 days. We were just like, what are you guys doing? Like Killzone, right?
PS2 days.
Yeah,
right.
Killzone.
And they were doing stuff.
Right, like
never impressed.
Right, never impressed. Like everything that studio did, were just like,
like trying to do a Halo clone, essentially.
Right.
Like, here, like let's make a half-baked Halo, and
exactly.
Well, let's make something you want to make something you really want to make. Okay, go and do that.
Right, and that's what it is. They finally found that success, and I'm happy for them that now Horizon is. I posted in the news if that's what we're talking about with Horizon. I think the franchise is over 20 million units or whatever they said, and stuff like that. So that's impressive. But that just shows like how much you have to dedicate and cultivate these studios, and it's not just an overnight success where it's like, okay, we bought you, now make a great game for us. It's the belief, the vision, the development, and you can see that from the creatives under the Sony studios, under the Nintendo studios, where they come up with these games. They're like, yeah, we're told to make something we wanted, and so we made what we wanted to make. And I don't see that out of the Microsoft vision under the leadership. It's just it's just a shame.
All right, I think that's it. News.
Sad.
I think that's gonna do it, guys, for this podcast. So thanks for tuning in. Oof, that was a lot. And we'll see what happens this week with Microsoft and them.
Will we? Is there something?
Nothing's happening this week from them. They're not going to do shit until that Starfield presentation in June.
I mean,
a month.
It was weird. They did release the dates, but I'm like, I thought we had these dates already, right? Like June 11th or something.
We talked about it a while ago.
Announcements times 2 now.
Yeah, like I wonder if they're just so hard up on news. They're like, hey, let's announce it again, guys. It's like, but they already know the dates.
Remember, we're still here, guys. It's coming.
Good stuff's coming, guys. We're good for it. No, we don't.
All right. That's going to wrap up this episode, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Once again, we are live on Twitch Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock. Join us for MovieCast, Gamecast, bonus rounds. If you miss us live, we're on YouTube the following day, all of our latest and greatest episodes. So subscribe to both channels. Hit that like button as well, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. It's going to wrap it up, though, so I hope you enjoyed this. We will see you soon. We're out.